Hello everybody, it's me, Tokkuri Yashi. How is everybody doing? Today we're going to be able to look at the second of the Alchemy Girls to be released into the game. This time it is Sono. So let's go and have a look at what she does, where she fits into the game, and where is Iroha? Her body switch pal? I don't know, I don't really get on this. Anyway, let's carry on then. First we are going to go and have a look at banner. So here we have Sono's banner, and as we can see here, it is up until the 31st of May, which means we will not be getting any more new characters this month. It's going to be a 2 new character month. But then that asks the question, where is Iroha? Well, I guess that means Iroha is probably going to be in the Winter Cheru treatment and appearing some point randomly in the future, which could be good news for those who like Iroha. If you don't have many jewels, you're going to have a bit of time to save up for her. If you like her and you had the jewels, well, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to wait a little while. Maybe she'll arrive when Alchemy Nozomi gets her unique equipment, somewhere around about October. But we'll have to wait and see. Sono is also a permanent character. Now, there's not many of these days, but Sono is a permanent character. But I will say she is the 100th permanent character that we have got in Princess Connect, which means even if you are lucky enough to get a 3-star on one of your summons, it's a 1 in 100 chance then that it will be Sono if that is the character that you want to show up. So chances are getting lower and lower to get these characters to randomly appear when we are summoning. So there we go, that is banner. Let's quickly have a look then at this image of her, which shows that she is a debuffer. She is a water character, magic, and sits in the rear gallery, which I think is slightly misleading on this team. Her position is 636, which is quite far back, but for water magic, that is close to the front. She sits just in front of Summer Nenica. The only other characters that we use regularly on water magic that are in front of her are the Summer Chica and Yui and the Xmas Pecorine, which is one thing I'm going to cover in a little bit. Could she potentially be used as a sub-tank with that kind of positioning? Anyway, quickly then we'll look at the loot pattern once she's here. Skill 2 is the first action that she will do. Important because it just puts debuffs on the opponent. And then it is also the skill that is used the most in her loot pattern. 3 out of the 5 is this skill 2. Still a very good loot pattern. Not many normal attacks in there. That's what we like to see. So let's go back in then and have a look at Sono. As you can see here, I did think I'm going to be skipping her myself, but is it worth you skipping? Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at hit points there, defense, and for magical and physical. It's not quite sub-tanky stats, but it is definitely better than most. They will rise a little bit again when she gets a 5-star. She's not as tanky as Chica and Yui, and definitely not as tanky as the Xmas Pecorine, but with her position right at the front and a little bit more defense and hit points there than most, maybe she will be used as a sub-tank in some competition. It depends who we're fighting. We'll see if that happens. If it is, that will improve her utility a little bit. Now, I guess the first skill then that we're going to want to have to look at is this skill 2, because it is the first action that she uses when she goes into battle, and it puts on a effect to the opponent. So what this skill 2 does then is reduces all physical and magical attack power of all enemies by a medium amount. So it's physical and magical attack debuff. Quite a lot here, 3,440 debuff there. 10 times skill level, not bad at all. And also reduces the magical defense power by a small amount. So there we go, magical defense debuff of 104, which is 0.3 times the skill level. Now, when the first time that she will use this skill, the first time that she uses this skill after the start of battle, she will put all enemies into a state of collapse. Sounds rather dramatic. Anyway, each time they receive a status down effect, they will get a collapse token put on them. It can be added up to a maximum of 80. Now, they're going to have 80 of these collapse tokens on them for the the effects of his other skills to take effect. So let's go and have a look at her other skills then. First of all here, we have got her Union Burst, and this Union Burst greatly reduces the magical defense of all enemies. So again, a 430 debuff to their magical defense. This is looking like a big debuffer in magical defense. Deals large magical damage to all enemies, so multiple target, 2.8 times magical attack. Not the biggest damage, but there is some multiple target utility there with that attack. Now, if the enemy with the lowest magical defense has 80 of these collapse tokens, then she will get extra effects to this Union Burst and a skill 1. I will say though, however, it appears that it takes till around 30 to 35 seconds remaining before a opponent will have 80 collapse seconds. They're going to have to be debuffed 80 times before any of this happens. So at least for the first half of the fight, maybe a little bit more, she's not going to be getting these additional effects on her skills and on her Union Burst. So it's going to be an end of battle where all hell will break loose. And maybe Sono can get on a butt and do something. Is she really that bone idle? Anyway, so if the opponent with the lowest magical defense has got a value of 80 of these collapse tokens, she will then additionally greatly increase the magical attack power of all allies by 20,000, just over 20,000 as it stands here, which is quite a large amount. 60 times skill levels, he's definitely going to want these up. It would be nice if they came up a little bit quicker. It's very similar to Louise Marie, the other alchemy girl, having to do 3 Union Bursts before her attack stats become permanent. Then it can maybe take about the same amount of time for her to get into her 3rd Union Burst. Additionally to this magical attack buff, she will also increase the damage dealt in critical and magical attacks, so a 12% magical crit damage buff there as well, and deal an extra large magical damage to enemies with the lowest magical defense. This is 7 times magical attack to the lowest magical defense enemy. I don't think her damage overall is going to be amazing. It's not going to be a prime DPS, but this extra little bit of damage could help, and it could maybe snipe somebody out on a team. And that's causing a little bit of worry, but it's not going to be until the end of the battle anyway. She's not going to be PvP jumping in and sniping the enemy with the lowest magical defense. So there we go, that is the skill, the Union Burst. Let's have a look at the skill 1 then. And this skill 1 moderately decreases the magical defense of all enemies. Again, a 241 debuff to magical defense. Not too bad at all. Slightly decreases TP gain. So that is a debuff of 10. Slightly decreases TP. So it's actually draining TP now 250 of all opponents. And if the enemy with the lowest magical defense again has 80 of these collapse tokens on them, she will then additionally greatly increase the magical attack power of all allies. So again, another 10,000 odd magical attack buff for all allies for 18 seconds, 30 times skill level. Increase TP gain, so a TP boost buff of 10, and a TP restore of 150. Again, remember, it's not going to happen until the end of the battle, or closer to the end of the battle, when an opponent has 80 of these collapse tokens on there. So on the whole, she looks pretty good, but we're going to have to see it in action. Recently, there seems to be a bit of a trend of a few characters being replaced by new releases. We've had the Valentine's Day Shizuru, who has been replaced by Ho-chan. We've got the Warlock Jita, who has been surpassed by the Alpha Nenica. And I believe this is another one of those situations here. Sono seemingly has replaced the Summer Kasumi, or is it really that simple? So let's just take a look at the two of them and a bit of a compare. We're going to take out damage that they both do here. We're not looking at damage, we're looking at their utility and support for their team, what they're going to do in battle. And we can see both of them have huge amounts of magical defense down here. Both of them on similar numbers. So on that level, I'd say they were equal. Kasumi is reducing the crit rate, both magical and physical, where Sono is reducing the attack, both magical and physical. Now both of these skills are supposed to be helping reduce damage that your team takes. I think Sono's is probably going to be a little better reducing the attack than the crit rate, but they both seemingly have the same kind of effect. In addition though, Sono is going to be reducing the TP boost and TP drain of an opponent. Some bosses are immune to this, so it won't be helpful in all situations, but that is the addition here that Sono has got. Now as we can see here, for the rest of Sono's skills, she needs those 80 collapse tickets, so they're only really going to be in effect the last third of the fight, more or less. So we can see here, Kasumi is raising crit damage taken, the same as Sono, who is raising magical crit damage. I believe that the Kasumi's magical, the Summer Kasumi here is only going to be one character, the highest attack character, whereas Sono is for the whole team. Both of them are giving magical attack buffs to all allies, though. Kasumi's is a base 4,000 odd plus a multiplier times their magical attack, which usually be around 3,000-4,000 ish, so we can say it to be about 7,000-8,000 magical attack to all allies. That's going to be constant throughout the whole battle, whereas Sono's huge 31,000 magical attack over all of their skills is only going to be available at the end of the fight, the last third of the fight. We're also getting raising allies magical crit rate with Kasumi there, so that's also going to help with a bit more damage for your team. Sono is raising TP boost and TP restore. Again, that could maybe help with a little bit of extra damage to the team. So very similar kits here. Kasumi is going to be flat all throughout the entire fight. Maybe that's been a bit unfair, so I shouldn't use that word flat. She's not flat. Her boosts are going to be constant throughout the fight, whereas Sono's is only going to be at the end, which is why there is maybe not that consistent of an argument to say that Sono has completely replaced Kasumi here, the Summer Kasumi, in her role. If you have Kasumi, she may be able to take Sono's role. If you don't have Sono, Sono will probably be better because she's the new character. You would have thought she will be the better results by the end of the fight, but for that we're going to have to see. So on top of that, we've also got this here. If you look at this 710 Waterdeep quest, there is a team with Sono in it. So you haven't beaten 710 Waterdeep quest yet, perhaps Sono can help you with that. Seems like it's the Alchemists and Zomi that's sort of been shifted out of this team from the main core water characters. So there we go, that is the new Sono character. He's probably going to be using Clown Battle as well. We'll wait to see what teams there is. Also, as you saw there, she's not tanking in that deep quest team, so maybe she's not going to be that sub-tank. Maybe that answers that question from earlier on. She does have multiple target and single target utilization, no restrictions, which could help her out to be used a little bit more. Maybe they are trying to build a multiple target magical water team. Maybe we're going to get Summer Ranfer to be used again at some time in the future. So there we go. Maybe one of the easiest skips that we have had recently, but that's not to say that she is a bad character. I'm sure she's going to produce great results on this water magical team. If you do summon for her, good luck with your summons. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this Sono. I will see you all again very soon. Bye 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 bye. Hey!